Although I don't know.
All right, let's go.
February, if you were spelling it with someone.
Yeah, we talking about that, yeah.
Kevin, how are you?
Welcome to the City of Raleigh Planning Commission meeting for March 24th, 2026. We have one public hearing this evening. Afterwards, after which we will adjourn to the conference room and there'll be a public meeting, a public hearing. We will announce each item as they come up. Our public hearing this evening is 43 Locust Avenue, site plan SP 418. Is somebody here for the applicant?
Good evening, the record, Corey Solomon, Rosario Steinmetz, representing the applicant, next standing project architect with me. I know this application is being recorded before, so this is brief. Summary, it's 43 Locust Avenue in the zoning district. Property is currently approved with a 1,500 square foot structure. It's planned to be demolished and replaced with a roughly 3,600 square foot structure. 3 stories. The first floor will mostly be foyer, elevator, stairs, to get up into offices on the second floor, residential on the third floor. There's a pass-through to get to the parking in the rear of the building. As you know, 3 variances associated with this application, 1 for FAR, 1 for building height or within the 35-foot limit, an extra half story, and 1 for the parking. 7 spaces are required, and we're providing 5. So when we were last before your board, we advised you we were in front of the zoning board of appeals, and we had showed them a plan that had 4 parking spaces. They had taken a straw vote and said if you got up to 5 spaces, we would be comfortable, but they wanted to get your board's input on the 5 spaces. So when we were here in March, we showed you a 5-space plan. I think it's a plan that we discussed for the year. I'll answer any questions you have and anything from the public.
As the plans have been changed since what we submitted and we received in our packet, that's
No.
changed the plan. I have no questions to that. Does anyone on the commission have a question? Okay, does anyone in the public wish to speak on this application? And a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Good motion has been seconded to close the hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we will now adjourn to the conference room, and the first item on the agenda will be 43 Locust Avenue.
I don't know if it's the same number for everyone. I don't know.
Nothing happened. I was like, I'm done.
Done.
How many did you?
No, I started. I got it.
Banged it fuzzy.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, so members of the commission, I'm going to start with Commissioner K. I don't think we have anything for you at this point. Did you see, everyone receive Christian's memo this morning, or excuse me, this afternoon? Going through the various issues regarding this application and the flooding and the district changes from the residential 5 to the B1. Anyone have any questions for Christian?
That was clear, thank you, yeah.
No, the memo was helpful and reinforced what Christian shared with zoning.
Okay, so the next key item we need to discuss is, Christian had drafted a resolution for our review. And in that, if you look at basically the bottom three whereases on page 2 and the top whereas on page 3, it kind of outlines the parking situation relative to the zoning board. So we need to make a decision on whether everyone is okay handling this through this resolution, or whether we need to send a separate memorandum to the zoning board. I think that he's done a good job and it's clear in the resolution, but I want to make sure that everyone is aware of that option and discuss it if need be. But again, it's the bottom three whereas is on page 2 and the top one on page 3.
It's clear to me, is that good summation for anyone reading this down the line?
Steve, you all right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That sounds sensible.
Jamie?
Give them relief parking options all around as well, on the street and in the block across the street.
Okay, so then let's focus on the draft resolution. Are there any other items in the draft resolution that will jump out at anyone or want to be changed? I will just note on the drawings, there's a gap on page 1, but it's handled with an asterisk on the top of page 2.
Expanded on, and they will be required to modify the engineering drawings to reflect this latest layout.
Right.
Can you do that for me? Hopefully.
And this also, the fifth whereas on page 2 does a good job, sort of setting the stage for the ones you drew our attention to before.
Yeah, I expanded that area to discuss how these properties are in the, essentially what we call the 500-year flood zone. Information relative to the Vulcan area requirements.
So you're referring to this area here?
Yeah, and the parking layout, right, has a slight change.
This was showing the 5 spaces
Correct.
initially?
Right, and now it's slightly,
Correct.
it's a modest modification.
Can you enlarge that a bit, Rex? Just simply, you should have it up. You got it? Thank you.
So that this would change a little bit, and there'd be this,
The parallel space.
yeah,
Right, so 4 legit DOT spaces and,
actually 5.
that one conforms?
Yes, this one here conforms, right,
Okay.
Rex?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and then this space is
You have that
available but not technically shown,
So you have the potential for a 6th parking space,
informal.
car storage.
Did this need ADA spots?
We, none required.
Okay.
I'm okay with the resolution as drafted, Mayor.
Any other comments on the resolution? Okay, then can I have an amendment to approve? Oh, excuse me, motion to approve.
I'll make that motion first.
The motion has been seconded to approve the resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you.
For picking up the doors there. Propose it.
Brevoort.
So I think on Brevoort, it's an extension of time, but as Christian noted in his notes, there's some minor DEC changes. Why don't you walk us through whatever DEC needs to change, and we'll talk about the times.
extension?
Sure, so we did flag it in our cover letter, but there were some, I would think, non-controversial changes requested, during the state.
Hang on a second. We didn't see a cover letter.
If maybe in the file and didn't make it into the.
Sure, hold it.
Yeah.
Also on that plan, maybe.
Perhaps you can give us a dramatic reading of it.
Sure, alright, so, the easternmost portion of the existing driveway, which was originally approved just to be repaved and asphalt, has been changed to a porous asphalt. So that is out by the garage and the accessory structures. The westernmost portion, I'm sorry, I had that flipped, that's actually at the beginning of the driveway coming in off of Brevoort. The westernmost portion of the existing driveway, which is to be resurfaced and asphalt, has been changed to gravel, so that's down by the court and the barn structure. The evergreen screening trees that were approved to surround the tennis court have been changed from non-native species to native species. The quantity and the size was not altered at all. And then there were just additional construction details added regarding, yes, so the areas within the DC's jurisdictional area, so this portion of the driveway down there will now be gravel. It's not shown on this plan, but the portion of the driveway down coming off Brevoort that is within their tidal wetland area will now be porous asphalt. These screening trees were changed to native species.
What species?
Juniper something. I'm getting to become an old man here, so there's very small print on my 8.5 by
Yeah, you
11.
want my readers? They're pink, but you can handle it.
If that works with my contacts. Juniper,
Virginiana. Okay.
Virginiana,
Fine.
and Suga Cannondens, eastern hemlocks, red cedars and eastern hemlocks, thank you.
Okay.
And then there were some additional construction details with respect to staging and the equipment to do the actual work in the wetland and potential dewatering site out in this general location here.
So this is basically changes that are good.
Yes,
Better.
I would think so.
Okay.
The DEC is requiring them as part of their permit.
Okay.
I think that the CCAC also recommended those things
So
as well.
we don't really need to change, we don't need to revisit.
If someone was to submit a plan and showed asphalt and went to porous
Yeah.
asphalt, we wouldn't
It's a good
even
thing.
let you
So
know.
the changes can be handled administratively.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great.
And where we're at with those changes to the plans, the DEC has now accepted the application is complete and they're in their 90-day notice period. That just started, I want to say, in like March 3rd.
So I know Andy is very excited to see it.
Marsh. Let's get it going.
Is there a
This is
seasonal
breaking work.
restriction on that
Good
work,
stuff.
do you know?
With the DEC,
Yeah.
we haven't gotten to the actual permitting process yet, but I would anticipate there being a condition of some kind, just because that's fairly typical for them.
Right.
But that would be in the permit that's actually issued.
Those trees will provide similar screening as was proposed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was this balance because you had some neighbor feedback, we'll call it.
Well, I mean, the problem with the hemlocks is there is a disease that attacks the hemlock, so they do need a certain amount of maintenance. Eastern red cedars are fine,
Okay.
toughest organ. And they grow all over the Cape, so I know they tolerate wet feet. Okay, can we have a motion to approve the extension of time?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Thank you all. Have a nice night.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, Post Road.
with some changes we talked about to the plan that include removing one of the patios so we could shift the pool as came up in discussion, shifting the pool so it was in line with the end of the house. We also provided an impervious summary that was requested for part of the deck that was in the buffer that was not part of the last approval. So that's been included in the tabulation and along with the mitigation that's proposed, the mitigation platforms. On the plan, we could see the red was the original proposed location. The blue was the second iteration that we discussed at the last meeting. And then now you can see we pulled the pool back by removing, so there's really only one small pool patio, 2 walkways here, so it's sort of minimal impervious. So that allowed us to move the pool so it didn't project any more westward than the house.
Yeah, you almost got there. You missed by about 2 feet. All right, well, still a lot of impervious in the buffer. So this is your summary table here, right?
Yeah. The top half is the previous application, and then the middle bottom piece is this application.
1,400 now, 1,000 old.
Yeah.
So the 414 is the pre-existing rear deck.
Yes.
And this is just in the buffer.
Yes.
So this is the, oh, this is the existing deck.
Yep.
This is the, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I guess as a commission, we really need to think about whether, how much is too much and at what point we move forward.
What's the total property area?
The entire
Parcel.
The parcel.
Can you take it from those dimensions, since it's basically a square?
187 by 232.
Almost an acre.
Yeah, it's almost a acre.
Sean, from the original submission to the most recent, right, the westward edge of the pool has been pulled further back. It's intruding less than it's eastward by how many feet?
13 feet 2 inches.
That's from the original to current.
Yes. Right there. The red was the original, the blue was last meeting, and we removed one, there was sort of 2 small patios, we removed one of the patios, so there's one patio remaining here. That gave us the 13-foot shift, something that we discussed.
I'm gonna be the ignorant one in the room. And I can see it, but it's really good to hear you walk us through it, because everybody is always like, there's the old deck, you shrunk that, how much did you shrink the old deck? I mean, the deck that was existing. I just really wanna hear you explain it all to us, because it's such a problematic site for the public and for everybody, because it's in, the entire thing's in the wetland. So I just really want it unpacked. Buffer, I meant that, buffer, thank you. So, on the bigger drawing, this piece over here, that deck was removed? I really wanna understand this.
Well, it's proposed
we're reducing the size of the existing deck
Okay,
and scaling it back.
We gotta go back and look at the 2017 plans, because there was a deck, but it's smaller.
okay,
This deck,
Yeah.
The original
deck
plan,
that's
the
there,
original deck runs across here and it was approved.
basically
Basically went with
straight
this line
line.
was there, right?
Right.
That was the original deck that was approved. And
Right.
then they built that deck that came out way out to here.
all the
right?
way out to here.
And so in this last iteration, they've pulled the deck back to here, but they replaced it with stone patio, which is still in the,
And which is
in the
still-
setback.
That's
Right.
still,
So they
okay.
kind of moved it back, but
But then they
shifted
put
it over.
stone, okay.
I think if I'm wrong, correct me, but I believe that's
That's right.
So the dashed line here is the line of the approved deck.
The previously approved deck.
But Jamie, you can see that on the large scale.
Yeah,
And that's why they went back and added the additional deck that was, I don't know how to call it, but that was, I guess, outside of the zone that it originally was approved.
We're counting it now
Yeah.
in the summary
Correct.
and the mitigation. And even tallying that, we've got a 2.5 to 1 mitigation planted area.
Would there be an opportunity anywhere on this property?
So let's correct it, so 2.3.
Sorry.
It says it right here, come on, man.
Doesn't lie.
Is there an opportunity anywhere else in the parcel for more ambitious ideas regarding mitigation? And this is not the first challenging site we've seen with the pool. We've seen some people really work hard to try to find a design that tries to pretty aggressively. I don't know if it's plausible here.
Well, short of bringing it to the house, I think, what, you see sort of colored here is a wide swath. It's a pretty substantial depth and length of what will be planted buffer. So it's a lot of physical protection to the wetland.
Right, I mean, the net benefit to the community is that you're taking one area out and replacing it with another area in the buffer.
I recall how the planning commission struggled with the 2017 plan. It's really about proposing this garage, and why is it on that side? But you were dealing obviously with an existing home. Half of the property is in a buffer. They went through a lot of rationale as to why it wasn't practical to move the garage to wherever, front house, the other side of the house. Here, this program, you should probably think about as one unit, some of which is outside the buffer, some of which isn't. So the area outside of the buffer existed. And there's arguments as why you can't put a garage on that side of the house configuration, things like that.
Yeah,
It is kind of a rotated house on the lot.
Yep, there was that, but the other constraints, there aren't those similar kinds of constraints with this current application. I mean, you see two equivalent areas of new construction. One existing and the proposed is almost the same
Right, and that's the
size
the
configuration.
difficulty is the additional, if you add the two together, it becomes a very large incursion. The flip side of that is the whole lot is impeded by the buffer for a wetland that's not on their property, so.
The only practical way you're gonna reduce this encroachment is significant, to change the program outside the buffer.
Which we've been struggling with. Insurance reacted to some degree.
We've removed, there's sort of two patios, so we're really left with one lounge chair patio for the pool and a walkway here, so we really did try to get out the scalpel and minimize the amount of patio that would be needed to give them something. The work is no closer to the wetland than the house is, so we're not encroaching closer to the wetland than the house already does.
tend to be in its total number. Towards the higher side of things, you would approve the cumulative nature. Substantiating the need for the encroachment, I think would be helpful for the record in terms of precedent, future precedent that might reference this.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, you have to consider all those things as I know you guys usually do.
And we're also good with wetlands that were flagged almost 10 years ago.
I mean, maybe, I mean, you know, it's always a challenge. You buy a piece of property, you know there's a wetland permit, you know there's a boundary, you know.
Has there been a lot of activity nearby that would influence where?
To me, it would be, it's really about the change of grade. I mean, wetlands can change, but if there's a grade change, they tend not to go uphill. You know, it's, so, you may have extended in other directions, say behind the garage or something, where it's sort of flatter there, but that wouldn't affect this consideration of this particular application. But again, I didn't delineate it, it is old, it may have changed,
Maybe in their favor.
maybe in favor.
So I see the dimension of 67 feet 6 inches to the corner of the pool from the corner of the wetland. You know what it is to the garage? It's obviously less than that.
I don't have that offhand. It looks to be, 10 feet less.
From my recollection, the drawing is less than 6.
Yeah, it appears to be actually just over 50. I mean, from a precedent standpoint, I think it's important that we at least get it beyond the 50 feet. That was certainly the issue we used at Purdy Lane.
And variances and everything else, you couldn't avoid an impact and build anything. You could not avoid.
Well, actually, I mean, if this house had been built parallel to the road, they couldn't have done anything in the backyard.
No, without a permit.
Without being in the buffer.
Correct, though, I mean, your setback is 35 feet and your sides are, 30 and 20. You have an ample area to the. It's possible to build a house and a pool on 20,000 square feet.
Yeah, but if you.
Meaning, that's roughly.
There's the yard setback, it's the back of the, whatever you call it, cabana.
And a pool in that location could not go closer than that 35
I
foot.
mean, actually, if the house had been built parallel to the road, the pool probably would have ended up about the same place it is now. All right, well, as difficult as this one has been, I would still like to see it brought back to the level line of the house, which is another 2 feet. But I think at some point we need to get the input of the neighbors, so I'd be willing to push this to a public hearing. I'd like to see how people feel about it around the table.
appreciate you changed the size of the pool, you moved the mechanicals, you relocated the pool. I mean, the place you started was a difficult place. Yeah, so I back that, Nick.
Is there any ideas with the stone pool patio? I mean, that's something more, because that's what's really adding a ton of.
Was it on stone dust or is it on concrete?
Concrete.
Well, it's elevated.
Did we count the deck at 1-to-1?
We're counting the existing deck at 1-to-1. Does the board consider that less?
It kind of washes out, right? Because proposed deck, existing deck, I mean, your proposed deck is also, what is that?
It's just the same deck that's there, we're just shrinking it.
Right.
You guys saw it on the sidewalk, it's
So it's four.
monstrous.
It's four.
What?
It's four, so the gap.
Yeah.
Yes, we usually do count that at 50%. Or at 100 instead of the,
Correct.
depending how you do it, whether you do it
Right,
the Miller way or not.
yeah.
So that, so are we saying that
The 414 would actually, it would increase their ratio of mitigation, so.
Or you express that 414 as 206.
207.
20. You guys are my math guys.
Next one is the right one.
Finance.
Makes your
Numerical
maximum.
smaller.
Welcome to Maryland, so gotta have to chat after.
It's as hard as it's.
All right, Jamie, how are you feeling here?
I mean, I appreciate Sean's aesthetic, I appreciate he's trying to operate with the client. I just feel like there's so much decking still that it's just, I'm feeling like something needs to be given a little bit, and I don't know where it is. I don't know if it's a stone pool patio, I don't know. I'm not feeling comfortable yet. So I know I'm the heavy in the room, but I'm not feeling comfortable yet, so.
It's fine. Rick?
we're going a long way, I think if you push it back, I mean, maybe look at the surface of that patio, I'm okay moving forward to the public hearing.
Steve?
I'm comfortable with the changes that have been made. I think they're good concessions.
Yeah, I think we, take a look at the surface of the stone pool patio, fix that and align the pool with the house.
Let me ask a question. These are steps going down?
Yes.
So is there any reason that this patio couldn't be brought back to that same level there? Match that? This side to this side?
No, because there's an existing deck.
Yeah, the existing deck's right here.
Right, so we would have to, all of the access, this is all more access to get down to the lower level, because it is elevated about 4 feet.
Yeah, you got steps right here.
Mhm.
So why not make those steps right here, cut this back, cut the pool back so it's in line with the house, it's the top of the house. That would help a lot.
You could look at that. The access is kind of this way, so
Can we do this?
yeah.
Alright, so let's then come back next time, let's see what we can do, try to get that lined up, okay? And then change your numbers so that they reflect the 207 instead of
Okay.
415.
Indicated in a footnote, counted at semi-impervious.
50, okay.
50%, yeah.
Okay,
So.
we'll set the public hearing then.
I mean, getting public comment is an important part of your record, so,
Yeah,
I mean,
but let's get the plan where more people are comfortable with it. I'd rather everybody was comfortable on the commission.
so set the hearing now, or?
No.
Okay.
We'll set the hearing next time. If we assume we can get the plan, where everyone's comfortable.
If we do think we can make those changes, can we set the public hearing, or?
it's an inclination of the commission, no at this point.
Well, are you saying you're 100% sure you can do this, James?
Well, I know we can shorten the pool to that line. We can make the update or correction to the decking as it's being emptied. And we can look at it, I think we can bring those steps back.
We can't, it'll interrupt the flow that we wanted to go into the patio bed, but yeah.
I think we can bring those steps back.
All right, well, we don't meet for 3 weeks, so I'm okay.
Yeah, and if it doesn't meet your needs, you can keep the hearing open.
I have a motion to set the public hearing for April 14th.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nick, if 207 change, the mitigation will come to 2.6.
I'm sure that you want to do that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're posted on the, we may not be meeting in this room at that one.
We won't be. We'll be over in the firehouse.
Yeah, firehouse.
Where?
Firehouse, second floor.
Locust Avenue firehouse,
That part,
that firehouse.
not the library.
No.
It's at the firehouse, correct?
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, that'll be exciting.
They have a bar.
I was gonna say there's a bar in town.
And if the trucks roll, just have to pause.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Give me 1 second. Okay, let's, go ahead.
Good evening. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Dan Conant. I'm an attorney with Cuddy Fader, and with me tonight is Rex Gedden, the project's architect. As you may recall, the applicant seeks to redevelop the 2 buildings on the eastern half of the premises, known as 2 to 8 Purdy Ave, and renovate the interior and certain exterior features of the 84 to 86 Purchase Street to create a single 3-story mixed-use building consisting of 3 ground-level commercial spaces and 5 2-bedroom dwelling units. In response to the comments from this commission back at the workshop meeting in February, we submitted supplemental materials on March 9th, and the revised set of architectural plans from Rex includes drawings of existing conditions, including the utilities, a roof plan with mechanicals, an updated FAR calculation, among other revisions that Rex will walk you through. Rex also recently obtained historical images of 8486 Purchase Street from the Rye Historical Society, and will circulate those to all of you once Rex is done walking you through the updated plans. And before I turn things over to Rex, I note that we looked through the DEC's remediation and spill databases, and the only site where remediation was performed in connection with a former dry cleaner was at 38 to 40 Purchase Street, which is approximately 0.1 miles to the south of the premises, and the remediation was completed under the brownfield cleanup program some time ago.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I just scrolled through, if you saw in our packet, we do have existing addition drawings. And we were locating and identifying all service entry points as well as existing stormwater conditions. I could scroll back to this, to the existing basement plan. And I think Dan will pass out a couple of the photographs. There was, the picture that I remember seeing is the picture that I was able to obtain. It's only a front elevation of the bank. We didn't have side elevations, but clearly obvious that these were all separate buildings at one point in time. I don't know the period of time in which they were actually married together. see the photograph that will pass to you, and I can give you a little bit more history about it. But currently, there's multiple service entrances to the building, and our intention is that this whole half is going to be removed, and we'll bring in new service to take care of the building. It has 2 sanitary discharges here and here, which handles this side of the building, this side of the building. Gas comes in here, gas also comes in over here, which is not shown. The most interesting thing that, and Christian and we've had this discussion because I've also renovated other stores on Purchase Street. There's this interesting private storm line that runs underneath all these buildings going down Purchase Street. And right now, the only discharge from the current situation discharges into that storm line, and this continues down Purchase Street underneath all the other buildings.
You mean like roof leaders?
One roof leader
Goes
ties
down and into the building?
Yeah, and it's the one noticeable when you look at the front facade between Sarza and the bank and the building. It's there. We intend to eliminate the roof drains, and we'll handle the drainage internally. But I guess the bottom line of what I'm describing is that we intend to upgrade all the utilities, and it's gonna, the building will be vacated, and we'll have that ability to change all the mechanical, plumbing, and electrical.
So, Christian, help me understand, so you're saying that drainage line, or Rex, is underneath the building or at the basement level?
It's at the basement, but under the basement.
Under the basement, and it
Oh, so it's not
carries-
exposed?
No, it actually,
Not in this location.
Yeah, okay.
it actually is exposed here. There's a sump right where the pipe comes through.
Does it start in that building?
Pardon me?
Is there?
No.
It does, we don't know where it starts.
No,
Could be any building all the way up Purchase.
it could be.
We can't go too much further because the grade's gonna drop.
Correct. So we've discussed with our clients of probably having it cambered.
And this is sort of the high point of Purchase.
Yes. We think
It
it
could be
goes,
coming from
Down
all down Purdy.
Yeah, right.
we believe when it gets down to Locust, it turns and then discharges somewhere in the brook.
How big a pipe are
Wow.
you talking about?
I think it's like an 8-inch.
Wow, so it's not very big.
It's not real big. There was an incident at a further store down below when they were renovating. I wasn't doing it. They blocked the pipe off and flooded all the buildings up street. So obviously it's still.
Easy way to find out who's connected to it.
Sounds very expensive.
So, so that's a little bit about the history of the services. The most change that we
You
made.
see it?
Not
The leader, or
internal,
whatever?
yeah.
Yeah,
It's right there showing
This is the
plan.
leader right here.
okay.
That's the only one that connects into the building. The rest of this stormwater all pitches off and out the back.
So it goes off the back and then into First Street,
Yes,
Yeah,
so then into a storm drain that's in the parking lot somewhere.
correct.
so between, my guess is the line of extending that line in First Street could get this drainage to work, but
So-
you have engineers to figure that out.
We do.
So you made a comment about putting a camera in? Are you gonna put a camera in?
We're looking into sending a camera going both ways to see if we can figure out where the pipe does go. We
Yeah.
know it goes underneath all the other buildings, but we were
It'll be
wondering.
particularly interesting whether it goes this way,
Yes.
it goes.
Correct.
If you do any dye testing, just give us a ring before you do it.
Okay. Green?
Green.
For the ground level, there was discussion with the commission about how to handle refuse, recycle. So we kind of reorganized this back area, just giving, these 2 retail spaces access to that, as well as our required access from both the stairwell and from the lobby space. This is elevated, and we're putting, this would be an elevated platform with refuse containers here and then whatever ramp that's required to get down and out.
Where's the property line?
Property line is this building right here.
Keep going, where's the corner?
Corner's like right here.
So you could extend the ramp, go back up, you could push the ramp out further,
I could.
and you could make the refuse room bigger.
We could.
It seems a little small right now. I'd rather it start out too big than too small, because we've had this problem in that whole back area for a long time. It'd be nice to see that extended.
Okay.
And I mean, you could even continue it, alongside the ramp. I mean, it doesn't, you don't have to end it right where the ramp starts. You could go that further.
We could.
So is there any entrance from the back, or it's all really kind of?
So, whether it's emergency, they can go into the stairwell or to the back door, it'd probably be a fob.
Okay, so someone comes in the parking lot, they live
Yeah,
in the building.
they park
come
back
out.
here, they can come in this way.
Be interesting to see the vantage point, it kind of becomes just an alley, the back alley.
Here? Yeah.
Just from the street, so if you're turning your head to the left, going up First Street, what do you see?
So that's First Street, so
Yeah.
I think it looks a little better than it is now, but this is where you'd be going in.
It does, at least on the building side, but just wondering if there's a way to soften up that alley a little bit, just a thought.
Maybe for statues?
Some planters, greenery, I don't know, something
Do
to
that.
break up all the, it'll be a refuse room and a ramp, right, so.
It won't have like visible 80-year-old fire escapes going on anymore.
That's charming to me, but yeah, sure.
You know, if you make the reference area bigger, change the design a little bit, you might, if you have it close, it's counted in the FAR.
It is.
Let's go to the roof plan.
You could modify the design, eliminate the FAR, and bring your FAR increase down a little bit, like you're expanding the area, like.
So, this is the upper roof plan, where our heat pumps be located.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about. Let's talk about the heat pump. So, is there any way to move them, those 5 further to the right, and those 3 down? So we're getting a little bit further away from Purdy Street and Purchase Street.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing is in that other area over the old bank building, where you have the glass railing. Are you putting it right on top of a parapet?
No.
How far back is it from the face?
So I like to mount them on the back side of the parapet, so.
So it's like one complete
So-
piece?
Yeah.
But is there a way that we could actually go 3 feet in? So that it's not, I know glass is in theory transparent, but it's still gonna, you're gonna see it from the street. The less you see it, the better. It'll be less intrusive on the old facade of the building. The glass in there.
We could look at setting it in further. We did set the parapet in. I have the bigger rendering, I can happy to show you the.
Is it on one of these?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, the parapet does go in a little bit from the edge of the roof, and then the glass, but you can't tell the distance from the glass and the roof. I mean, it looks really good, I guess.
Should a good point, that glass doesn't age very well.
It doesn't influence.
It's great.
Yeah.
So-
Very quickly.
We were pulling the parapet back. We could have done it in a darker color as well. And then the glass itself is actually on the inside of the wall of the parapet. So the idea is to keep people back away from it, but I understand your position of not being able to see it. If this was
How high
painted
is
dark,
the existing parapet?
0.
So this is what, 4 feet is the code, or?
You need, Steve help me, 48
3.5.
inches. Yeah, 3.5. I guess, do you have those? Your photos? Yeah, then you can, because it's interesting, as you'll see in the picture, and if, Christian, can you pull up Google? What? So that first picture, the bank was organized in 1900. It was the Rye Savings Bank.
Thank you, sir.
Rye National Bank. And what I don't know is when the second floor was actually added to the bank.
Good.
That's great. Could you maybe just pull right over here?
The bars in the window.
So, what I thought I found was interesting when you look at the photograph of the bank, these are consistent, but then when you look at this cornice work, it used to be right here. You can see in the photograph where this, see how it wraps around into this building, it was here. So at some point, when they added the second floor, they basically lifted everything up. I don't, City Hall doesn't have records back then, so.
What year is this, Chris?
That was said 1900.
So either the street came up or the floor came down. Because you no longer have this.
So remember, these used to all
No,
have
the floor
porches.
came down. Yeah.
They used to all have porches where you know.
And Henry Ford came out with a Model T, like 1908, so, there's a little car in the background. Look at the telephone poles.
Yes, I was looking at that, because it's 20 years.
So those, actually in the basement of the bank, there's a series of a lot of wooden shelves and such, and those windows, I think, were used to be into the basement space, but the floor was lowered when I
Right,
actually
well,
was.
that makes sense, yeah.
I was
So they were like area ways.
You could see the steps, so the steps were higher, and these windows on the side were into the basement level.
Yeah.
But when I was involved with this renovation in '92, and when we split, Lepler left, and we individualized the store. Remember, Lepler's had everything.
Is that before or after Catan? Remember that Catan era was in there? And then it became the Paolo Gallery?
What was after? Lepler had a whole space.
Well, it was Lepler's all through the 60s, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was coming up with Lepler, sure.
Always Lepler's, yeah, I never remember seeing the bank, so.
Had $50,000 in the bank. On his top of the heap, Brian.
So, as we mentioned in the commission before, we do have a variance request, that we need to go seek. We have a slight, we're over the FAR, the building is basically currently at the FAR. The added square footage is mainly because of the square footage that we're adding for the core space. But I think we talked about before, nowadays with a renovation like this, the codes that we have to comply with now, it makes it really tough to
So-
get everything in there.
So those fans are there, it looks like it almost like brickwork.
Yes.
Recessed.
So these,
For what?
yeah, it's sort of,
Unfortunately, there was no photograph of the side of the building, and I asked the Historical Society for it, but they didn't have anything.
But it's consistent with, you see these things, are consistent with what you have on the front. You know, this, and this are the same thing.
Right. Most importantly, this guy, you know, the keystone is still there, and that piece is here. I had done this when we converted it back to Lepler's, from Lepler's. We just, you can see that's all newer brick, and then we put the fans into them.
So where do those fans end up in here then?
They're gone.
Where would they be if they were kept?
I don't know. Fairly consistent, but as you can see, the windows are a little bigger.
So this rectangular pane is similar to
To
what
that.
is proposed, but it still doesn't. What year was this photo, do you know?
68, up on the top there.
Oh, okay. Oh.
It's a shame, I like those. Good job, Rex.
Well, again, it was a lot better than what it was. And we promise we'll take this collection of signs down. That's been there for, I don't know.
There's something some of the historical stuff, feel free to keep.
I don't
I
see it on
rarely
here.
say,
I don't see it in
But
68.
they're falling off already.
Well, that's the charm.
Yeah. Except when it hits you.
No, that's good.
All right, well, let's talk about,
There's a few
yeah, a few
things
things
here.
you had here.
Okay, so we have that photo that we talked about. You did get a hit for being near on the EAF mapper, historical and archaeological resource. So you should follow up with SHPO, get a letter to find out what that is. It's probably the square house, you know, which obviously this doesn't have an impact, but we need to get that into the file. We're talking about modifying the trash enclosure, which would change your FAR number. If you go to a different design where it's more open, you wouldn't necessarily need to take it out of the FAR. If you make it bigger, you bump it up a little bit. I described the FAR and how it's portioned. You can see the increase, and that's roughly, it's actually less of an increase over permitted FAR and this stair, elevator, things that are required by code today.
Also need to place safer.
You know, definitely need to design and engineering. That's also gonna relate to all these utilities, as well as there's an opportunity here to potentially, we have to figure out what's going on in these other locations, but maybe this pole goes away, which would be great. You talked about the HVAC units. It's maybe a cut sheet, you know, I know it won't be the final product that you go with, but just to get a sense of size and scale of what those are, so you can understand what's expected.
Sure.
We've done this in the past, we talk about refuse, but this design works both on the size of the refuse, but also cooking. If it needs a vent, if it's a food-based retailer right now, as your practice, this would not allow for food-based retail or a restaurant, because that would change your refuse assumptions. But incorporating, or at least identifying how venting for cooking apparatus would be incorporated into the building possibly. We did do that across the street, or at least in a location that's not conspicuous. I am saying here, you probably want to get a few more information before you
Yes.
get, you know, start making recommendations to the Board of Appeals at this point.
And see the engineering drawings.
Correct. I have to check if this requires a county referral. condemned as a county road, but it's not really,
Oh, no.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out. If so, we'll. And, that's all I had.
So if I'm understanding, you want this information before we go to the zoning board of appeals?
Yeah, the commission's gonna have to, decide what it wants to convey to the board of appeals. Even if you're sort of benign, you know, Godspeed, you'll even wanna convey that, so, so that, they have an understanding what you are or not.
We don't want them to flag one on this.
Yeah, and going back and forth, like,
Like 43 Locust.
yeah.
You can say it, you can say it.
There's no defined procedure for this, it's very common when you have a planning commission and a zoning board and two applications, how do you manage that? This back and forth is inevitable. Okay.
So we'll see you in 3 weeks.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Before you agree to that?
This picture isn't that old, so.
No, I agree.
The one that's almost not good.
68. What, were you born in 68?
August?
2 days before that?
19 days.
Nick didn't see any good stuff.
Okay. Minutes. Any comments on page 1?
Yeah, Nick, line 9, and this might be me being dense, or maybe you guys get it, but line 9, that sentence is, he stated that the Board of Appeals recently granted the requested variance from the 100-foot specified distance.
Yeah, the setback, the 100-foot
It's,
setback.
yeah, it's
As-
derived
as-
language. You could
So
say
how could
100
we
foot
use the word setback?
says specified setback
Mhm.
instead of distance.
Yeah,
That would be fine, just to make it a little more clear.
there was no context for setback introduced before, so it should be introduced here, then if you want to be clear.
Okay.
100-foot specified distance would be.
Right, so change the distance to setback.
Okay.
Also, then, at the bottom of that paragraph, it talks about the removal of shuffleboard courts, and this could be dementia, but wasn't that a Shenrock thing? Did
That
that
was
also
Shenrock.
did that also happen at nursing? That's a Shenrock.
No,
Where did that come from?
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry about that.
We wrote these from the cruise ship.
It was.
That's okay.
Yeah, that is the Shamrock thing. Alright. Anything else on page 1?
We can make them take a shuffleboard too.
Page 2, line 27 is just a quick typo there. Ground floor, not ground floor.
Also, 43 Locust is just one residence upstairs,
Yeah, one level of office and one
but the residence will only be 9 residents.
units.
Okay, good, good, good.
I just want everyone to look at lines 43 through 45 on page 2, make sure that everyone's okay with that. Okay.
Even though they're both flat space plan space, they're not there. That's your concern, I see what you're saying. Then I would say the version with 4 spaces adjacent to the building plus 1 parallel to the property line.
Then it's which clock?
Page 3, line 24. Can we just, change it so it says, he noted that the wetland mitigation plan, and then added has been augmented. Make that a little clearer. Anything else on page 3? Page 4? Page 5? Have a motion to approve as amended?
So moved. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.